Hey, what's up, everybody? Bringing another review. This time is the Mafex Robocop from the first movie. Let's get started. Uh, I know I'm late to the party on this, but shout out to my boy Javier Mello who hooked it up, got me a Robocop when I missed out on the pre-order. So thank you for that. But anyway, let's get started. Jumping into the review. I know you've probably seen a bunch of others, so I'm gonna try to get through this as quickly as possible. I want to start by saying this Robocop looks absolutely wonderful. I have one minor issue here with the back piece of my plate protruding out, but it's not too much of a big deal to me. I don't really care, but I know for the sake of aesthetics, some people will see that and be turned off by it. Just know that it's a problem for mine. I don't know if you've seen anybody else's, so I just want to address that right then and there. Anyway, as usual, we're going to jump into articulation. Robocop can look left, look right, look up, look down. Well, not really looking down. He's kind of look like he's always looking down on you. But anyway, he can't really look down. So that's the only thing that's pretty much ended. But looking up, tilting left and right, all that stuff is not really an issue for him, which is really dope. As far as the arm articulation goes, he actually has a full rotation that rotates out and pushes back in, which is really cool. I enjoy the fact that it comes out because it gives you a better range of motion when moving Robocop. Especially because for him to be an 80s cult classic guy, he is very limited in terms of articulation. As far as the waist goes, you get left and you get right. The arm actually only rotates here at a 90-degree angle because, he's Robocop. He's a guy whose body was pretty much torn apart. And you get, actually, no, I was wrong. I am wrong as I see this. It's actually double jointed. As you can see, I rotated it down a little. And you can rotate it left and right a little, as well as rotate it down. So there's an extra little bit of articulation there. But if you want it to look smooth, you actually go with it to make it look at it. It rotates at the 90-degree angle. Now there's a nice ab crunch that goes forward. Nicely goes back. Doesn't go too far back, but back far enough. The leg articulation, you can use the drop down method and rotate up. So if you want to kick a guy with your heavily armored cybernetics, you can. The leg is single jointed, goes about 90 degrees. The pivot, as you can see, moves here, which is really, really nice. I like the look of that. And there is a toe pivot. So if you want to stomp out bad guys or defeat aliens, you totally can. Even a Terminator or two. The hand actually moves on a really nice wrist joint, as always. So now that we've covered the articulation for Robocop, let's cover the what he looks like, the aesthetics, and all that other good stuff. I want to start by saying I love the look of this Robocop. I love the Figma one because it has a nice tint to it, and it was nice and it worked for Japanese stuff. But if you are a guy who's into domestic stuff, this Robocop will be the Robocop for you because of size-wise, it works out perfectly fine with most stuff. But he just has the bulk in the build, which is really, really nice. And it just holds together a lot better. It feels really nice, has a great weight to it. Now, first thing I want to cover is the leg. And the reason why I want to cover the leg is because if you are going to use Robocop's patented technique of taking his pistol out, you want to know that you can remove this entire leg piece. It's all one piece, you can remove it. With that being said, you actually add the parts where you're going to use them for, I forgot what I'm saying. This is the part that you use for when you're taking him pretty much out, like you're using the maneuver to take it out. So when you're doing this, you actually added out the parts. And as you can see here, this comes in two parts. And you actually rotate that in. And as you can see here, it looks really nice. Does a really good job of looking nice. And I actually need to take the gun off his hand because I left it on there. So I can show you how it holds in there. So you can actually hold the pistol in there really, really nicely. And then voila. So as you can see here, he holds the pistol very nicely. And he has the ability to grab it. So it looks really, really good. That's something I thought I would never see in this day and age. But here I am being proven wrong. And it's really nice. It was well done on the Figma, but it's done even better here on the Mafex Robocop. And it holds together really good. As you can see, I just slid that back in with no issues. This Robocop actually has the look, it has the feel, it has the accessories. Now, also, you get a damaged face. Oh, sorry. You get the damaged chest plate for battle damage. And then you also get the damaged head plate. Both are equally nice. You also get expressions for Robocop's lips. One you get when he's mid-talking. And then one you get when he's... Well, actually, this one is mid-talking. This one is more of a slightly open mouth. And to do that, what you actually do is you just pop the top off, and then you remove the faceplate. I'm going to remove the head completely, but as you can see, you just remove the faceplate. Voila. So now I can put that back on. I just want to make sure I showed you guys. This, all in all, is probably my favorite Robocop to date now, until the second and the third one come out. Because I am a fan of Robocop. I grew up with it on as a kid, so this is a kind of a big deal for me. Now, as far as hand accessories go, you get one hand for holding his pistol. You get two closed fists. You get the two relaxed hands, as you see there. You get the pointing Robocop left hand to show you that what you're doing wrong and what you're being bad. Then you have the hand for when he taps into any other electronic system. This is also really, really nice. And that's what you get accessory-wise. Now, overall, I know it seems like it's not really a lot, especially for the price tag you pay for. But if you are a fan of this, and I know tons of people have gotten their NECA Robocops, gotten their Figma Robocops, but to me, this is the Robocop. So I'm really excited for it. I'm a big fan of it. And Mafex actually did a good job. There's no QC issues. I gotta say, my Robocop came in just fine. So this right here is a definite hit for me. A surprise sleeper, and I shouldn't have slept on it. Thankfully, I ordered the others, so hopefully they'll came out just as good as he did. Now, real quick, I wanted to go into the size comparisons, talk about what's going on with him. The first thing I want to do is compare him to his Figma counterpart. Now, here is the Figma Robocop, which is significantly smaller, because it is definitely in scale and closer to other Figma and SHF imports, and it works for that stuff. But as you clearly can see size-wise, if you want him for domestic stuff, it's definitely going to be the Mafex Robocop or the NECA one, whichever one you prefer. So actually, let me leave him out, because the next thing I'm going to do is compare him to the NECA Ed 209. So let me see if I can actually fit him in here somehow. Yep. Yeah, there we go. Now, as you can see size-wise, there is huge differences. But as you can see with Ed, you actually get the bang for your buck with all of these guys. So as I see, I'm going to hold it back. And size-wise, you get right there the in-between stuff. If you want a better scale of David versus Goliath, you go with the Figma one. But I just like the look of the Mafex one, so it's going to go really well with this. I know you like that bluish tint on the Ed 209, so you'll get that with the Robocop 2. But you get the whitish, purplish tint here with the Mafex, which is really, really dope. So I am a fan. I am happy with it. It is really cool. Actually, I guess I'll leave Ed 209 somewhere in the background for right now. Real quick, we're going to do actual size comparison with other lines. First up is the SHF Camerata Decade. So you can see size comparison wise. Robocop actually stands about significant size over him, but it still looks really, really nice. Next up, we're going to use Figma Ruler. And as you can see, she's tiny compared to Robocop. But the Mafex line actually caters more towards the American line, which is really dope because, like I said, if you're an American collector and you like the cult classic stuff, this is definitely for you. Next up, we're going to go with, who are we going to go with? Oh, let's actually go with Synthetic Human. So next up, we have Synthetic Human on the line. He's ringing. And this would actually be a good fight between two cybernetics. One is Synthetic Human. One is a robotic cyborg. Next up, we have Marvel Legends, Mr. Fantastic. And as you can see, size-wise, Robocop scales pretty well with Marvel Legends. So for those of you that mostly do Marvel Legends, this will be a good catch for you. Next up, we're going to go with a Mythic Legions. We're going to use Mythic Legions Fury Clan Orc. And size-wise, I think the Orc definitely has height on Robocop, but it's in a fair amount that Robocop doesn't seem too small next to him, in my opinion. Next up, an Articulated Icons Ninja. And they're tiny compared to Robocop, but still have a really good feel to them. And last but not least, my Kit Bash Punisher Cable Hybrid using the old boy head. And as you can see, Robocop doesn't seem too far off scale-wise with him. They seem somewhere in the same scale. They look really nice together, size-wise. So they both have the bulk in the build, and I really, really like that. So all in all, I have to say I'm happy with Robocop, but then again, I have a bias towards it because I love the movie as a kid. I probably shouldn't have watched it so many times. But if you are not in the mood to pay 80 or 100 bucks or whatever the price is at this point for Robocop, you can totally miss out on it and get the NECA one and be totally fine. But if you want something with a little bit more action, a little bit more spring to it, with a really good build, And actually, no QC issues for once. This is definitely for you. But in the meantime, guys, hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it. Oh, shit, before I even do that. Sorry about that. Forgot that he also comes with the muzzle flash effect for his weapon. Totally forgot that. And I'm glad I caught it before I even forgot. And here it is, because you can actually attach it to the weapon. Clearly almost forgot that, so I apologize for that. But now I hope you found it fully informative. And most of all, I hope you do good, be good, and drink your water, guys. Enjoy. Later.